What's going on? Good evening, and good evening. Welcome to Trailblazers Radio. I am your host, Mr. Frederick Medium. Thank you so very much for tuning in and rocking and joining us tonight. Um, well, just thank everybody for tuning in and rocking out with us tonight, man. I am so excited for tonight. Um, tonight's going to be another part of our conversation with my beautiful sister, Miss Joy Kitanga Dabo in the building, and we are going to conclude our series on postpartum depression. However, before we even jump into any of that, like I always say, man, please like and follow us on all our various social media platforms: Instagram, LinkedIn, oh my God, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter. We also have a YouTube channel, man. We are on the road to 100 subscribers, man. So please keep hitting that subscribe button. And once you subscribe, man, just follow and like the content that you resonate with, man. Um, our Linktree page is coming up really soon. We also are working on our Patreon page. We also have a website, which is www.trailblazersradio.com. So we want to thank you all for your viewership and your listenership, man. Without you guys, this does, this doesn't happen. This doesn't exist. This doesn't go down. This doesn't go down. You know what I'm saying? Go down. This doesn't happen. Um, Last but most certainly not least, and I want to put this out here right now while it's still fresh in my mind. I want to continue. I want everybody that watches us and listens to us to continue to put us in up your prayers um, for the families of Deshaun DeBose, Joshua Butler. Um, Please also say a prayer for my girlfriend Monica Reese. She lost her nephew last Friday. So please keep these families in your hearts, in your thoughts, and your prayers. Matter of fact, keep all the families of keep all the families who have lost someone to due to violence, whether it's police violence or whether it's other types of violence, in prayer and in your thoughts and prayers, man. These people are hurting right now. They really need your thoughts, your prayers and your thoughts. So please keep them in your thoughts and your prayers. Um, and toward the end of the show, I might have a little surprise for y'all. But yeah, I may have a little surprise for y'all. So we'll see how this goes. So, but other than that, man, we and my beautiful guest, Miss Joy Kitanga Dabo, is back in the building again, and we are talking about PPD. The last three episodes we broke down what it was. We also talked about how it affects the woman. We also talked about how it affects the father. And her husband M Dabo was in the building. He told a most beautiful story of how he helped his wife um, pass through and overcome because she was affected by this, and her husband stepped up and did what was required and what was needed of him. Um, and like I told him, and I'll say it again, like I said last Wednesday, man, hats off to him. Give him flowers for that because he is a brother. Him and men like him are
Mm-hmm.
are just respect for it. Just all night they oh my goodness
Mm.
they were right now. Let's get into this conversation about postpartum depression and let's talk about how it affects the children for that matter,
Mhm.
because we obviously don't know how something like this would affect a child. I think we all can agree on that. So, from your experience, Joy, how did PPD affect um, your children, but also your newborn?
Mhm. Well, welcome everybody. It's good to be here again. Thank you for this round. It has been a phenomenal journey. I thank you again, and I don't know if there's any word that I can express. I'm excited. This has been a great journey, and also that we have been talking not just about the woman, but we have been looking in the whole spectrum of the family. How does PPD affect the family? And for this, I am so honored and also excited and grateful because that's also part of the ministry that I do with God Imprint, which is involving women and family. So I'm so glad that I was able to come here and share with our audience about how not only my journey but also how does PPD affect the family. With that being said, how did it affect my children, or how did we deal with it? You might have had, if you did not have a chance to watch the interview with my husband, you might want to go back and watch that interview because he said it very well. I can almost say to you is that we develop this protection around our children during that period in order for us to not experience PPD, but experience mom and dad. That was our goal. It was whenever I was not doing well, whenever I will feel down, and it varies from families to families. But that was how we approach it. It was whenever I will feel. Again, I go back to the self-assessment. Whenever I'll start feeling it that this is what is about to happen, I will tell my husband, and that day will mean that before it kicked and knocked me down really bad, I went outside. We went for a walk. I also had family members and friends who I will call and would talk. That does not take most of our time and the process of raising our children. So that's the approach that we did. Mostly, we created an environment where we're constantly pouring out love, but also we had a church family as well as a family who were supporting us. But now going back to, does it affect children? Yes, it affects. And I want to put here already a disclaimer that it is best that you go see your pediatrician when it comes to this matter. That what I'm sharing, it's mostly based on my research and my personal experience with my children. For my own experience, I shared earlier on is that PPD was undiagnosed. It was me reading through papers and realizing that, oh my goodness, this is what I have. What in the world is happening? So, with that being said, how does it affect children? There's two different ways that it affects children. One is emotional, and the other one is cognitive, mental way, the way they develop, the way they interact with society. And I had shared a little bit in the aspect of the mother when we were talking about how it affects the mother. Is that the mother, when you become too attached, the in the process of anxiety, the fear of not allowing other people to take care of your children, it affects the way they develop. One of the thing is it affects their emotion. They develop insecurity. They want to stay with the mother because that's where they feel safe. So it become no one else but mommy. Mommy have to be there all the time, and this become a toll again on the mother, because now you can the child cannot be served by anyone else, and it's only requiring you. So now it developed more and more toll on you. And it's to now to create that detachment, it's even harder, because as the child is growing, they only know what mommy to be the safe place. But and then when they go to school, they are unable to connect with other people. And one of the things that research have shown is that these children now have problem connecting with others in society. And some of these children that develop cognitive is the learning ability. Either they're slow at learning because the depression, the mental aspect of the mom, or the environment that it had created, it caused them to to feel not just insecure, but also when they're learning environment, they are unable to collaborate or to learn effectively. So those are the few things that do affect the child, is that the emotion and the developmental, the cognitive development goes affect as well. So they probably slow down. And some of them, you think about, some of the kids, you may have seen them in Walmart who throw a tantrum, and they're like screaming and all these things, and you're like, oh my gosh, that child have hypertantrum, where it's probably more likely that the mother had developed postpartum depression during pregnancy, sorry, developed depression during pregnancy or post pregnancy. So that is one of the some of the things, other than genetically things that affect the what is it, ADHD, attention hyperattention deficiency. So that's one of the things that can affect, is that depression causes some of these children to become very hyperactive, because they just want that attention that they may never get. Later on, it is found that children who were from mothers who had postpartum depression or depression during pregnancy, they themselves, especially male boys, tend to develop depression later on during their life. So that's some kind of
Wow.
a little bit of some research that I put there. But I can talk to you about how my kids and I are developed. But I wanted to pause there for a minute, just to share that those are the research and the statistics that have shown that especially boys born and raised by mothers who have experienced postpartum depression have a tendency to develop depression later in life. Did I lose?
So when we talk about this um, from a long-term perspective, right? Is it safe to say, because, well, I won't say that. Do you think that when the children, those children suffer from those emotional and psychiatric behaviors, right? Um, do you think most women would call that would chalk that up to heredity?
Sorry, could you repeat that question? I did not,
Yeah.
it kind of,
When
mm,
when a child, you know, develops these conditions, do you think is it safe to say that a mother would probably say that that child, or would she be more apt to blame the child's condition on heredity?
will the mother be, for any of the children later on who develop any kind of these hyperactive emotional problem, blame it on the postpartum depression? Did I
Yeah,
understand
would
the question
because
right? Mm,
some mothers would blame heredity for their child's behavioral and mental conditions. Do you think would that be a fair assessment to say that
well, I won't be able to say would that be a
most
fair
mothers?
assessment. um, I won't consider it as a fair assessment to conclude a certain level of mental health of a child, or a a condition that a child has, to postpartum depression or anything of sort, because there are some, for example, I know a family, a friend of mine, who had a very traumatic experience right before she gave birth. Her mother passed, and that trauma of her mother, even the death of her mother, causes so much trauma to her. Now her oldest, that child, currently has autism. Would it be fair to say that this child developed autism as the mother experienced the depression as a result of this incident? I would not say that, because then it can cause even more trauma to the mother, because some mother will be able to say something like, "It's my fault. It's my fault that this child is this condition. It's my fault that there." No, it's not your fault, because one, you're not in control of hormone imbalance in your body. We don't have control over that. We don't have control over genetic information that we inherited ourselves, right? So there's a possibility that they too not only inherited, and to be mindful also that we are born out of two people, not one person. So that could be either the genetic of the father as well, that may, if they're in the father's side, that they have mental illness, that could be a cause as well. But there's also, if the mother's side, where they have some mental illness as well, it can affect it genetically. So I will not say it will be fair for a mother or anyone to be at some point to say that this is possible because I developed postpartum depression, because we don't have control over what we inherit, and we don't have a control over our the hormonal imbalance that goes about. What we have in control is the ability to assess it, and be able to open up to our clinical advisors, our doctors or OB, and say, "This is what I'm experiencing," and they prescribe any kind of therapy or medical prevention to help you process or to help you through it. That we do have in control. So that, from that perspective, I would say, for anyone, a mom or a spouse, to not a, it shouldn't be a point of blame or feeling guilt because it is something that we do not have control. There's some parents, like I'll tell you, when we take our kids to the pediatrician, they have a chart that they're keeping, right? They're following the development of a child, and based on the development of the child, they can see whether this child here is developing and whether a mama is telling a lie and she's covering
Right.
up postpartum depression. But they won't force you. All they know is they will know what to do with this child, right? All they know is, okay, we can see these signs, is that this mother is probably developing postpartum depression, but she's not open about it, so they cannot come and force it on you, because again, this is the United States of America, where
Right.
people are taking so much cautious. So that's what we are encouraging with this kind of video, to encourage women and say, be open, go to your doctor, explain what you're going through, because then you want to know, is what my child going through a behavior as a result of the postpartum depression, or is it a genetic things, and know what to do from there, because otherwise you will be just in the loop of many therapies and many assumptions and many clinicians to see, and never get to the what, to the bottom line of what really caused it.
Right. And I get that. I most and I understand that. And I think you for clarifying that. I, as I've been researching this and things of that nature, I think about the effect. The first, of course, we're going to think about the effect it has on on the woman. That's the most adversely affected, right?
Hmm.
Also think about the father, and an Ib's story was certainly one that something that was something that Ib's story was something that was amazing, but also spoke to how a husband or a father steps in and helps take care of and takes care of his wife or the mother of his child, mother of his child.
Hmm.
But when we talk about our children, right? Our children, I think, are also just as adversely affected as the mom. And like you said a few moments ago, it it could be something that could be genetically inherited, but just from looking at certain researches and things of that nature, because I did a bunch of research prior to me and you coming on tonight, and one of the researches, one of the things that I was re-looking at, um, was like there was a study that was conducted in there was a longitudinal study that was conducted in England, and they
Hmm.
did like 18 years of data on kids who were born in like a specific area. And now we're talking about the U.S., but I think the data that they compiled in England is something that could be that could that's just as comparable, I
Hmm.
believe. So they researched it. They what they found was like they were found the most vulnerable groups were families who mothers who suffer from moderate to severe PPD.
Hmm.
They also They also found out that these mothers were more likely to struggle with depression 11 years down the line. Now that's kind of a broad swath, but all they and it was a lot of data that I was reading, and I'm like, geez, these kids were 4 times more likely to have behavioral problems, 2 times more likely to have low math scores, 7 times more likely to suffer from depression themselves at 18.
Hmm.
And then I'm
You,
like,
one of the thing, Frederick, was that
and I
I
was
think
saying like, no, I was saying the study was conducted in England, so the numbers could
Mhm.
be comparable, but again, those numbers probably would pale in comparison to what we look at in the United States. It's just the reason I just did a little bit of research because just to kind of get a gist of what how this adversely affects the child.
Mm-hmm. You know, I wanna say that with that I think with you
Yeah.
both were reading
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I saw that research as well, and one of the things I'm a little bit, you know, of course these are medical individual who did this research and all this stuff, but and then when we're doing that kind of research to follow how did the postpartum depression affected these people to go to the age of 18, I have a little bit of difficulty with that because postpartum depression, it could, you know, if you did not have any previous history of depression or psychosis, then it is strictly chemical related in the
Got it.
imbalanced hormone. So to study that person, their child, all the way to the age of 18, my question came along was how was their life in between birth, because that goes to up to 18 months, right? Because postpartum depression can last up to 2 years experiencing the mother. So 2 years, that means the child is already 2 years. Then the effect can go up to 3 years for the child for the recover and all these things. Now, from 3 years all the way to 18 years, my question as I was reading that was how did they live their life between 18 to 20, I mean 3 to 18? Did they have any factors of loss in their life, or how do they track that these depression symptoms that they're experiencing is what isolated to to the to the cause of the mother having postpartum depression or experiencing depression during their life? That was the question that I counteracted to
I can
the
look
to
up even
such
like that.
research, because you know it's a chemical imbalance, and a chemical imbalance, how do you track it other than cognitive? How do you track it? You track it long over a long period of time when it was something that could have affected only for 2 years. So that's something that I question with that research over 18 years of period. Identify, did that
Right.
child did they lose a loved one during the time? Were there any car accident? Because trauma as well can cause depression. Trauma can affect our way of living as well in life. Did they have a perfect life and then they concluded that no, the reason they're behaving this way is because the mother had issue? And that's why I stated earlier that it would not be fair to point to that it is because of the mother postpartum depression that this child is behaving this way.
Yeah, I agree with you on that because I mean, the one thing I will agree with you, unless there was a diagnosis of clinical
Mm-hmm.
depression and mental health behavior issues, I would think that that's something that probably wouldn't be. I don't know. I don't think certain things are not necessarily are not quantifiable to me.
Mm-hmm.
Now, like what we've talked about, we talk more about qualitative things instead of quantitative things. We've been talking more about things that improve the quality of life for a mother. You know, I think and I'm like you at the moment. When I think we can throw all these gaudy numbers out here. I think the I think the context of that you and I are talking about and the importance of what you and I are talking about gets skewed and it gets lost in all those gaudy numbers because everybody wants to look at numbers and they want to look at percentages and they want to look at these and They want to compare numbers, and well, you guys are looking at it from a quantitative standpoint. You're not looking at it from a qualitative standpoint because at the end of the day, when I mean, and you can probably agree with me on this one. At the end of the day, it's the person's quality of life we're trying to improve. We're not trying to add this person on to another study or add this person to a percentage. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
even though research does even though compiled research does put things in percentages and things of that nature. So I mean and for me that's cool. And that only tells that only tells half a story. That only tells half a story.
Mm-hmm. And
We
also,
just
it's probably Q&A, right?
yeah,
Fill in the blank.
yeah.
Did you ever feel this way? Did you ever find this? And did you ever experience this? Did your mother ever have this? Oh, therefore, that's what it is.
And then you separate those things out. Okay, well here's the ones that had this, and here's the ones that didn't have this. So let's compile the numbers of here and compile the numbers of there, and then let's all put that in, all throw this in the computer and let it calculate it out. And again that's cool, but it only tells half a story.
Mm-hmm.
And in order to understand that, what we've been talking about, I mean, or also they know what goes on. They know what's happening with their parents. If the parent does is not feeling the parent isn't feeling well, the child's going to respond in a way positive response. In most cases, when it comes to certain things, it is a positive response because that child wants that parent to get better than it did you.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, we can talk about the affects kids. We can talk about the autism and the fighters or whatever. We can throw all those things out there as much as we, but it still me it doesn't necessarily it tells a story, but it doesn't. It tells half of a story.
And we know there's dangerous in
Everybody's
a
talking
half a
well, this
story.
can be passed down. It can and it cannot. And everybody say, well, it can be passed down. No, it can and it cannot. It largely depends. You can't. So, like you said earlier, you how can you quantify all that because you've only studied that child from birth to 2 years old. What about the things that happen between 3 and 18? You still got 15 years of worth of research and information to gather, and you don't know what happened in that time between 3 years old and 18 years old. Whether they've experienced a loss, whether they've whether they went through other changes, whether they be physical changes, whether they be emotional changes, whether they
Puberty,
be environment.
puberty
You don't.
changes.
Yeah, you don't know. You can't quantify that because all those things affect the child differently. I mean, if a child sees their mom sees their mother going through depression, then in most cases, at least from what I've personally seen, and I'm not talking about younger kids. I'm talking about much older children. So I'm talking about somewhere between 5 to 10. I'm talking about somewhere from 5 and up. Because I think when kids get around five, between 5 and 6, they get more. They have a better understanding of the world around them, and also have a lot more attuned to their parents. So they see their mother feeling blah, they're gonna be like, "What's going on, mom?" Or they may hug that child, they may hug that parent. And yeah, and learned behavior, sweetheart. I get that. We we have to get out of the patterns of learned behavior.
Mm-hmm.
My mom's depressed, so I'm depressed too. My mother's going through all this. My mom's feeling blah. So
Mhm.
I just don't. I think the more research that I read, I think the more that I think kind of look at perspective. Recent numbers are good, but they don't account for the improvement of of the quality. They don't account for the improvement of a life
Mhm.
through intervention, through Christian-based psychologists or Christian-based counselors, or even a counselor or psychologist, or even just having a talk with your OB and your pediatrician and a pediatrician.
Mhm. One of the thing,
Maybe I just think along those common sense lines, but hey,
I
I
like
guess that's how I look at it.
to. What one other thing to add to that is the idea of mothers, fathers, as you know, that's why we have these kind of videos and interaction, is that you now aware that at least in the 3 years of life, let's even extend it to 5 years, because that's the development state of life, is that be cautious, right? As a mother, as a father, if you already have known that you are experiencing these signs of depression, is definitely get some help, because it is affecting at least those first 5 years of life, of how the child is going to connect to the society, how they're going to interact, how they're going to learn. So if it's affecting the first few 5 years of life, then you might as well take it serious to know that, how do I take care of me so that I'll be able to take care well of the other soul that is developing, that I am need that I, that is that needs me to nurture it, nurture him or her. It is to take it serious. It is to take it serious, because those are the 5 years of life that it is affecting the child. Then it goes on to think about some of these behaviors that you see, is maybe take a little bit of if I can say, have a little bit of compassion and grace for yourself and for the child. Because if it is as a result that the child is experiencing these tantrum or depressed as well themselves, then have a little bit of grace and find of ways of maneuvering around. One of the things that I wanted to share with today was one of the things is breastfeeding, right? I remember that with me, when I was experiencing that, I had to stop breastfeeding my child automatically, because I knew, because that's the place where emotions are being fed. And I knew when I am down, my child will know. My child will know that, mommy, what's wrong? And I'm not a psychologist, right? But I share with you that intuition, when you give birth, God give the blessing of a woman, is that God giving you all these intuition to know that something is not right, something they have to change. And that automatically, if you're experiencing those mood swing, those mood that are going down, is to think about the breastfeeding, how is it impacting and affecting this child. Do I need to stop breastfeeding? For me, I had to stop, because I knew I was going through some very difficult time, and I knew it was going to affect the child. Look, I never studied psychology. I mean, other than the in undergrad, where you have to take the psychology 101. But
Same
but
here,
I
same
didn't
here.
stand here and talk about psychology, because I'm not a psychologist. I only knew that I had to stop, because I knew my emotion and what I'm going through is ultimately going to affect my child, because they can sense when mommy is happy, when mommy is not, when mommy is moody, and all these things. So I have to refrain from that. So that's something that I wanted to share as well with our women, as we are talking about awareness and children, how it can affect them and impact them.
And you know what? And that's an important point that you bring up too, because a lot of women nowadays are breastfeeding their children, and you know, I know for me as a man who who my youngest son was my youngest son was a breastfed child. Um, for a man, for me, that is the most important thing, more important time for a mother to bond with her child. You know, people may frown on it and look at it as like, well, you got to move out. I was like, well, I'm feeding my kid. I'm bonding with my child, and to me that is the most intimate bond for mother to child.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when that bond is affected, not severed, but affected in a way to where there's no tenderness in the bond, there's no love or anything of that in the bond, then of course you have to pull away from that for a while and reevaluate.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, okay, let me pull away, let me reevaluate some things, let me get my husband involved, and let's work through this.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
So true.
that's we talked about we talked about that. We talked about getting other people involved. We talked about
Mm-hmm.
adding people to your team. We can it's prevent. I think when we look at it from the perspective of trying to prevent it, and of course that you never know when that hormonal imbalance is going to occur, and watch for those signs. And that we discussed before, like we discussed from the onset. We've always throughout this series, y'all. We've always swayed in remedies, not necessarily remedies, but ways to where this can be prevented. We talked we when we the onset of our conversation, we talked about getting people involved.
Mm-hmm.
Your people, your OBGYN, your primary care physician, your child pediatrician, get a hold of some counseling. If you're a Christian and you want Christian based counseling, fine. But and me and Joy have talked about the importance of having these people involved in this care. You know, but only the 3 episodes that are coming in on this one. Um,
Mm-hmm.
let I mention your primary care physician, your OBGYN, your child's pediatrician, and then a counselor. Do I need to repeat that? I'm sorry. I mean, do I need to repeat that, Joy? I'm sorry.
Sure. Yes, please. Could you repeat that, please? It went off.
Okay, sorry. Struggle streaming, y'all.
Mhm.
So the one thing that what I was saying is tell everybody the importance of having a care team involved when it comes to dealing with PPD. And what I mean by care by your care team, I mean OBGYN, pediatrician, and a counselor. Let everybody know the importance of those of having those people involved in your team or your team.
Sure, definitely. You know the expression that says that it takes, I don't know if it's something also in the United States, but growing up in the Democratic Republic of Congo, that is Central Africa, in the South, I always hear this expression, and I'm sure you probably will say, yes, I've heard this expression as well, is that it takes a village to raise a child. If it does
Yes.
take a village to raise a child, then think about what's that village. In the village or in this community or even in our neighborhood, you already have a mama who's a psychologist. You have a mama who is a doctor. You have already a daddy or a father or a grandfather who is this therapist who sees things from the far and they can tell. You already know all these people before you arrived at home, and you wonder how in the world I did this in the dark and my mother know it, right? It's
Right.
because it is the whole village. That's the same concept when it comes to our health. You need that therapist, you need that OB, you need that, especially let's start first from the ground up for you, for the woman, from the mom perspective, right? As the mom, you need that OB connection, you need your PCP involved, and then now your husband or the partner, the male partner need their own PCP, primary care physician, and they now you have a child, the pediatrician. And when you are working in collaboration, there is a better movement for you. I used this expression last time, is that surrender to what? To healing than trying to stay strong. To surrender to healing is simply saying, I am going to do whatever it takes to keep my family whole, united, strong, and also healthy. And that means simply I'm checking with my pediatrician. I let them know that this is what I'm going through, right? Because I'm already working with my OB, I'm already working with my PCP. I already have already this description. For mothers, for example, who have already talked about this with their therapist, they're already seeing a therapist, or their doctor, primary care doctor knows this, they probably are also under medication. If you're breastfeeding, some of these medication, they do go through your feeding. So your pediatrician needs to know, because they will tell you how to care for your child if you are taking this type of medication. Your pediatrician that is not does not have knowledge limited only to children. They also know about these medication that affect the mother, that's going to affect the child. They know how your body function as well, because they took that class called anatomy and physiology. Then you also have your what? Communication with your therapist, because your therapist, you can tell your therapist, okay, I have a 1 year old, I have a 6 month old, I have a 5 year old. And they will know and they will help you, because you have these different ages group in your household. Your brain is going to feel like you're about to explode, so they will advise you equally right way of how to maintain a peaceful environment for you to not lose your mind, but to be at peace. So it does take a village to raise a family, to raise a child, especially when you have these kind of condition, especially when you have some special condition in it. With you alone, it is not good. Anything in life, right? If I can throw there, a scripture there, it is from Genesis, all the beginning. It is not good for men to be alone. It's not just for a male to not be good at to is not good for them to be alone, by human being. We need each other. And in this case, you need your OB, you need your PCP, you need your therapist if they have already referred you to a therapist, and you need your pediatrician involved as well so they can help the family navigate. And if you do want this, get a family counselor, right? Get a family counselor in there as well. Throw them in there, and they will help you to create a safe environment, not just for you, but also for everyone else. Because your husband may be, or may be wondering, what in the world is wrong with her? She was fine 1 minute. This will help them as well to know how to help you. So get a family counselor there involved if you need one.
Yep. Oh yeah. And but I think we all know the catalyst to that is the individual that's going through the condition.
Mhm.
It doesn't start. None of these things happen unless the mother makes it known. Hey, I've been feeling blah lately. You know, I've been doing some been breastfeeding with my son and my daughter, and we're not bonding like I want us to. I've been feeling tired lately. So it
Mhm.
doesn't start. The catalyst is the person that's going through the condition. And then the family members also see that, and they're affected by it. So all the things that Joy is talking about, it doesn't start until the person that's going through the condition recognizes it and jump starts the process.
Mhm.
You know, that's when everybody else gets involved. You know, and like she said, your PCP and everybody helps equally. Your PCP may offer some things for you as far as like maybe finding ways to improve your health. Maybe improving your health by maybe increasing your diet or adding something to your diet, maybe recommending more exercise. Your OBGYN may do may do other things, may give an exam, or may even ask you questions as it pertains to your habits with your child. The pediatrician may ask the child, if the child is of age, you know, how do you feel when your mom goes to these situations? Or if the child isn't of age, they may do an assessment on the child to see, make sure that the child is eating properly, make sure the child is being properly stimulated,
Mhm.
and things of that nature. And then now you have part of it involved now. Now the counselor can talk. Now you can talk to the counselor through the emotions, and then even in that, you bring a family counselor from a family perspective. You bring a family counselor from a family perspective. How's a father or husband being affected? How are the older children being affected? How's the mother being affected? How does it affect everybody as a whole? What's the collective? What's the collective one person going through a condition, and how it can affect everybody as a whole? So what Joy said is absolutely correct. And every one of those aspects of it is one side. We talk about healing, especially a from a biblical or spiritual standpoint. A lot of people talk about healing from a
Scientific standpoint. We
qualitative standpoint. We talk about how God heals us from this, that, and the third, and stuff and things of that nature. Is it something that's going to be long term? Is it something that's going to help you push through your life? Things of that nature. like I said before, quantitative fashions and measurements are good. They are, and I'm not going to be blunt, but I'm going to be funny. I'm going to be funny with this. Quantitative things are good because somebody got to crush the numbers, right?
Yes.
I don't know. I look at things from a qualitative perspective now instead of a quantitative because, of course, we can get both in both ways, but it's only one way that has the most impact, and that is to me the qualitative part of it. You know, having all these folks on your team, each one of them is going to give you a qualitative
Mm-hmm.
analysis of you add your husband or your mate in that, or your child's father in that, and now there's even more qualitative stuff because it affects him, or how it affects him, or what way it affects him. We also you don't know how it affect, what it, how it affect how what your conditions affects your children because again, like I stated earlier, right before I started, the catalyst. I repeat that, y'all. The catalyst is the person going through the condition.
Mm-hmm.
If Joy would have died, she would have suffered. Her children would have suffered. Their quality of life as husband and wife and mother and father would have suffered. Anybody thinks, y'all, and I'm probably gonna get some naysayers on this. It takes two people to raise a child,
Mm-hmm.
a mother and a father. Usually, what affects the child affects the father and the mother. It goes down to the because if this father's active in this child's life, of course it's going to be those things are going to have those, especially if you're married. Those that husband's going to be so my hats off to you and your husband because, like I said, you guys, number one, you had the presence of mind to catch it,
Mm-hmm.
to know that you weren't feeling right,
Mm-hmm.
you also had the presence of mind to tell your husband, hey, I'm not feeling right, you know, and and your husband had the presence of mind to tell you, hey, you know, you take care of me, and I'll take care of this on the front and the back end.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't you know the more I hear, the more I think about like really head on and how you guys overcame that. I'm I'm overflow I'm overflowed with a because, and when I say that, Joy, I say that because it could have went the other way.
It could.
If you
Yes.
didn't catch it, if your husband didn't tell you, we could be talking about a different result right now.
Most definitely.
and you wouldn't be here in front. You wouldn't be here talking to me right now if you wouldn't be here living your call to
Mm-hmm.
your purpose. So my hat's off to you because, like we talked about earlier, first episode, 80% of women make it through. They go through with it, not a problem at all.
Mm-hmm. And
They make
20%.
they make it. What you're doing and what you're reaching out to the 20%, the ones who are still in the dark. And we talked about this last night in the house. Your light is like a beacon for those women who need to see you. They see your story. They see your light, and they want to and encourage you as you continue on this journey of
Mm-hmm.
advocation and advocation and information for women, especially going through this, especially when it affects everybody, from the child, from the woman to the child, to the husband, to the child, to the president. This is your never dim your light or your purpose, because there are women and families out there that are looking specifically for your lighthouse.
Mm-hmm.
Your lighthouse is the one that's going to guide them to safe harbor. And when they get to safe harbor, they're going to be in a place where they feel protected, they feel loved, and they feel care. They're going to feel cared for because you guided them to that safe place, to that safe harbor. So
Mm-hmm.
by all means, I know it gets tough, it gets rough, and it gets tough because we all go through those times to where we doubt ourselves, we doubt our purpose, we doubt what we're going through. We think that ain't nobody listen to this. Don't nobody want to hear what we're saying. I don't even know why I'm continuing to speak. Nobody's listening. It goes through here and it goes out of here. But Joy, you and Em have a grand purpose, and it's gonna do more than just speak to just people. Y'all, you guys have a purpose to nations, y'all guys.
Amen.
I mean, it may sound like something real. It may sound small to some people, but for those who know, they know. So you guys, man, never don't please don't dim your light because, like I said, your lights are the ones that's going to lead families to safe harbor. And when
Mm-hmm.
they get to that safe harbor, they're going to feel so protected. They're going to feel so loved. They're going to feel so accepted and embraced that
Amen.
they're going to also be man. Keep that out there.
Amen. I receive it.
Keep it down. Just when people don't realize it or recognize it, they see it.
Mm-hmm.
The people see it because I wanted to say this yesterday, but it slipped my mind, so I'm saying it now. Not everybody sees of your light. You catch what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
There are people that want to use your light and use it until your light is extinguished.
Mm. So true.
There could be something know that, but that's something I do feel that in my spirit that there are people around you guys that may or may not that may want to extinguish your light, but don't extinguish your light for nobody. So and during this time, you guys are gonna become you guys are gonna be beset with so much. You guys are gonna be beset with adversity. You know,
Amen.
you
Amen.
the love, the dedication to your purpose and your calling is what's gonna sustain y'all.
Mm-hmm.
And
Indeed,
God's gonna keep it sustain y'all.
he does.
You know,
He is, and he does.
I you know I I first and foremost, as not only as a great human being, but now I can I can embrace you embrace you as my sister and say, hey, no, I know her.
Amen.
Even
Amen. I love it. Yes.
better yet, I know her. Don't you leave that one alone. I know her. Leave her alone. And like I said before, man, you and Ib are welcome here. You guys are welcome anytime. So like I said, you guys are no longer
Sure. Likewise. Likewise.
here. You guys know where the stuff is in the couch. You guys know where the couch is. Make yourself at home. So, you know,
Sure.
I just want to give you that bit of encouragement because I know in this journey
It
of
went to the heart. Thank you. Thank
I
you
will
so
be
much.
beset by obstacles. And I want you to know that those obstacles can and will be overcome. Because like I said, the fun you have for your children, the the dedication that you have towards your purpose, or it's going to be and God, the dedication you have for your purpose and the dedication you have toward God is what's going to sustain y'all.
Mm-hmm.
It's what's going to catapult you to higher level. This right here is just a stepping stone. This right here is just a stepping stone. And I don't mind, and I personally don't mind being a stepping stone.
It's a good stepping
I don't
stone.
mind being a stepping
Yes.
stone. This is more pain. So no, I'm serious. I don't mind being a stepping stone. I really don't.
Hmm.
Because I mean, just if I can help you by being on this platform, by you being here on this platform to allow you to take that step and then elevate, I'm cool. Like my thing is like, hey,
Well, you know that's already into effect. I think you need
I
to
don't know
hear
her, but
this.
I do.
You need to hear this, Frederick. It is already in effect because ever since we started this, I've at least have two women that I know who watched, that I have sent the
Oh,
video and say, hear this, and say, after I watched your video, I realized that what almost killed me then with the heart condition was actually postpartum depression.
wow.
Like, this is the it blew my mind. This person called me and said, I watched your video, the interview, and I thank you because we are so many of us that are suffering in silence and misdiagnosed. Whether for her it was a heart condition, they told her that you have an extreme large heart, that you need a what, a heart transplant. Okay, that was her testimony sharing me. And she said, I realized I had overworked myself. I realized I was tired. I realized I was exhausted. And everything that you have shared, when I was watching the video, I was like, that's me. Oh my gosh, why didn't they tell me that it was like I went through depression, that enlarged heart, it wasn't a disease, but it was a condition of the heaviness that I was carrying inside of me. Her mom just died. She just had a baby. She's for her, unfortunate was also in a emotional and abusive relationship. So all these care that she had to take and realize she had to go through it alone and just end up passing out in a class by, like, just pass out and waking up at the what? Waking up at the an emergency room. and and she's watching this, and she say, I actually, she never had the surgery, because later on they say, oh, your heart is fine. Well, what happened to that enlarged heart we saw, months ago? We don't know, but your heart looks okay, just continue doing what you're doing. And it was, continue finding your peace. She find peace, and not what, not allowing any of the circumstances of exhaustion overwhelmed her as a new mom who just had a loss. And it's those simple little thing. 10 years, the child is about what, 20 years now, is now she's pointing fingers to that effect. So there are people who are suffering silently, and this is probably going to be one of the video they will watch, that will encourage them, that will lift them up, and they will go like, honey, listen, I watched this video. We need to talk. We need to sit down, and this is what I'm going through. Can we do this together? Because I know I can't go to my doctor. We don't have the insurance. I can't go to my OB because then they will call me crazy. We know all these stigma and stereotype. But look at this video that just this describe everything that I'm going through. And I did my research. Please do your research. As as our sister on critical conversation would tell us and say, do your diligent research, do your research and read it, and not just based on the video you watch, but do your research. Wow, what she said, what he said is what I'm going through. Let's talk about it. Or call your mom or call somebody and say, I'm coming to drop off this child because this is me, this video is talking about me.
Due diligence. Due diligence is due diligence is due diligence. You know, I most definitely I'm going to echo the same appeal that Joy just made. If you're a woman and you are going through any form of PPMD, but basically they're postpartum mental disorders or whatever you like to call them. Me and Joy are going to keep it simple. We're going to call it PPD. Don't suffer in silence. Don't do this by yourself. Get your care team involved. Get your husband involved. If you're married, get your spouse involved. If you're married, probably not involved. If you're not married, if you have older children, get them involved. Get get your PCP involved. Get your OB involved. Get your children's pediatrician involved. Find a counselor for you individually, and then find a family counselor for every that you find. So my plea to you is the same as yours. If we're both saying the same thing, we're just saying it in a different way. But it's don't do this by yourself. Two, get your care team involved. Possible to take care of yourself. That's all I can say on that one, y'all. simply this, that this has been for me a very, very series for me because yeah, there's some things I didn't know. And to have you here on this show, on this for these for these in emphatic fashion, you know, like I said, I'm proud, I am proud, and I'm honored to know you. You know, I'm honored to call you sick husband, my brother. I'm honored to call you sick husband, my brother. So I've definitely enjoyed this, man. And you know, we gotta remain me, you and your husband. We gotta remain in touch because most definitely want to collaborate. You know, especially with you and your husband on, especially on you guys' thing on Clubhouse, which I thoroughly enjoyed last
You
night.
should interview him. You should have
Maybe,
him come.
yeah,
He has
we
a,
must
oh,
talk about
his
that.
story is too much. His story, oh Lord Jesus.
We can talk about it. I'll most definitely get in touch with him on Clubhouse and see if we can arrange that. But
Mhm.
but Joy, I am going to give you this opportunity, give you this one more opportunity to let everybody know who you are, what you do, where they can find you on social media, as well as that wonderful room that you guys had that you and your husband have on Clubhouse. I really want you to let everybody know about that because a lot of people's lives can be changed by that. Oof, that was so down. You got that was powerful last night. I'm gonna get out the
Yeah.
way. You got it. Go ahead.
Well, thank you again. Thank you so much, Frederick, and to the whole Trailblazers for inviting me to come on this platform to share my experience, to share the knowledge that God has given me. I am the founder of God Imprint Ministry, and it's a women's ministry where I teach, inspire, and encourage women to seek God and pray. I've mainly focused on the women of the Bible in my teaching because I realized the silence of women being silenced, I had to trace it to the origin place. I had to look in the Bible and see why is women considered silent. And I found that actually women never been silenced in the Bible. So I took up on the journey of opening the tape on each and every woman by using the Bible. I teach mainly women of the Bible, and we talk and do a conversation. I serve women who want to learn how to draw closer to God, how to heal, and finally how to walk in their authority. So if that's you, you can join us on godimprint.com, or you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and also watch our videos. We have plenty of them on encouragement on YouTube. But find me on Facebook, God Imprint, and also Joy Kitanga. You'll find me there. And you can ask me any question how to join this women movement of removing the tape over our mouth that we been told that we were to be silent. You are not to be silent. And I want to close in this. If that's you, you have experienced postpartum depression or anything in life that you have felt that you had to be silenced, well, I'm here to tell you that's not God's plan. Your voice is needed in this world today. And that begins with these videos that we have done. Watch all these series, you will see and understand why we're doing what we're doing. It's for you to know that you matter and God cares for you. As a woman, as a mom, as a wife, as part of society. Take care of you, and you will see that everything else around you will also what evolve, will blossom. It's important, your physical, your health, your mental. as we concluded this video today with this: get your care team involved. Whatever you're going through, get them involved. Don't compare yourself to others, because there's only one you. And I would love to work with you. If you are interested and would like to join and discover what does the women of the Bible talk about me, and he will tell you their story. So again, thank you, Trailblazer. It has been an awesome journey, and I love, love, love this moment that we've had together. And I know there are plenty of time that we're gonna meet again and do other things together as in collaboration. So thank you again so much.
Oh, you are very, very welcome. I appreciate you so much. I appreciate your husband so much. Um,
Thank you.
I want to allow for the opportunity for you, allowing you, giving you the opportunity to share with us and our audience. You know, just to just to have you for this period of time that we have you. So I would really want to thank your husband for being that man to allow us to share you for a little while. You know, and it means a lot it means a lot to me, but also means a lot to our audience because I know there's some women out here that who are struggling and hurting. And if you've been watching this series from day one, there is help out there. There are resources out there. You know, we also, like she said earlier, get your care team involved. It's no black mark on you if you get everybody in your care team involved. There's no black mark on you if you get your husband or your older children involved. You know, these are the people that's going to be in your circle. And when it comes when it circle the wagons around you
Hmm.
and keep you safe and keep you protected. They know that you're adversely affected, but they're also affected as well. Like Joy said, man, follow her on Instagram at God Prince. Also check out to be want to know more about more about her ministry. You guys can get in contact with her directly on Facebook and on Instagram. Um, and also on her website. So if you guys want to know a lot more about her ministry, please follow her on her social media and also follow her on her website. Uh, and last but most definitely not least, I want to thank you, Miss Joy, for being on this most informative that I've had. Um, this has been the most informative, but also um, the most eye-opening 4 weeks I've had.
Mm.
Things that I didn't know, I know now. Information I didn't have, I'm armed with now.
Amen.
Try to be that beacon of light and try to just as much as you try to shine your light on this, I'm most definitely going to try to do my best to be in tandem and in concert with you to help shine that light even brighter. It's truly been a joy, for lack of better words. But
Yes.
it's truly been
It has been an honor from my end.
it's truly been. I mean, honestly, it had to see the kindness whole time, and
Oh, thank you.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Um,
Thank you.
you have, like I said, you are an now. You come in the front door. You take your shoes off and take your shoes off and kick back on the coffee table. You don't have to walk. You don't have to ask what's in the fridge. You're welcome to it. So I enjoy. I
Indeed, I
really.
hear it. I hear it. Welcome. The same wise here. We're gonna have you and come and share on
This
our
particular episode of Check In.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, let everybody know really quickly.
What
Let everybody know about the clubhouse rule you and your husband have. Please.
Oh, sure. Okay. So thank you. Thank you again. So my husband is Ibrahim Dabo, and he is starting this podcast called Purpose Graciously Revealed. And it's about the journey that each person, all of us, need to share of how we got from where we were to how God weaved our story to reveal the great purpose. And yesterday was his launching day where he opened the room on Clubhouse and also recorded on his first podcast, and you can go and look on any platform graciously purpose graciously revealed and listen to his first podcast. He talks about the four steps to discovering your purpose. So that's going to be what he's going to be talking about. We're going to be meeting every Tuesday where you can hear about how you can discover your purpose. And he has guest speakers that are going to be coming. He did journalism in the past, so he's going to leverage that to help others discover their purpose. And like I said, I can't wait for Trailblazer to bring him up here so you can hear his story of how God revealed his purpose. And it's quite a journey. It's quite a journey. So, yes.
And I'm gonna repeat it. Please do me a solid, y'all. If you are on Clubhouse every Tuesday night, Purpose graciously reveals. Uh, I highly encourage you to check out that podcast. I was there last night, and oh boy, I walked away. I know I walked away from there just like I walked away from that just energized and just you know it is something about being in a positive environment with people who you know number one not on speak life for y'all. Purpose graciously revealed every Tuesday on Clubhouse. Do me a solid. Go check out that room, and while you're there,
Hmm.
do me another solid favor. I do believe your husband is on Instagram, correct?
Yes, he's also on Instagram as IB Double.
Yep. So yep, do that, guys. Do me a solid. I think when and I'm gonna say this, and this is off subject, there's so many negative platforms out here
Hmm.
that talk about negativity, ratchetness, ghetto stuff. It's cool. There's a place for it, and everybody supports that. Everybody supports that type of stuff. If you do, that's cool. I won't. There's no judgment passed here, but when are we creatives like Joy and her husband, Joy and Ed, creatives like what we do, what we do over here. It's time that we start supporting positive creatives. Their messages are powerful. Their stories are powerful. Their stories are powerful. Their messages 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 are power are just as important as these ghetto ratchet whatever. I don't know. I'll call it. I'm not calling anybody out or anything of that nature. No, so please, I'm not calling nobody out. But we do have to support. Do have to give more support to our positive creatives.
Amen. Thank you.
This platform that I have is a positive space.
Indeed.
We don't. So that's all I'm saying. I'm not gonna rattle. I'm not gonna rant like that because it's this is not the time and place for that. But as I stated before, as we could conclude this episode to check Dabo by following her on her various social media platforms, her website as well. That got graciously revealed. Um, man, powerhouse people. I know I'm gonna tap in. So I don't know about nobody else, but I'm gonna tap in, and I'm gonna do as much. I'm gonna support as much as I can.
Thank you.
Uh, I got surprised. I was very. Um, I didn't know if I wanted to let this go or let it premiere or anything like that, but
Mm,
show this to show. And I'm a little embarrassed about it because it's something that I did a long time ago, and I wanted to see if I could do something, write something in a positive manner. So first and foremost, I do want to get the name of the track was called the name of the track that I wrote this to is called let me find it because I wrote it down because I want to give credit to this individual by Jan Hunter Jr. This came from um, his EP Chill Tape Volume 3. The name of the song that the name of the song that I wrote the name of the song. I'm gonna premiere this here. I hope that this is gonna be a positive type thing. Um, so I'm gonna let this go. You got y'all. Again, track credits go to Jan Hunter Jr. So I'm most definitely giving him his flowers and his kudos for the track YouTube channel. And also check him out on Instagram as well. So
mm,
here it is. Let me know what you guys think about this. So here's the premiere of Real Talk by yours truly. Hope y'all like it.
That's Hunter.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Mr. Angry Man is back. I'm back. That's right. Y'all ain't know that I can rock like that. Y'all ain't know that I can rock like that. Nah, nah. Y'all ain't know that I can rock like that. Y'all ain't know that I can rock like that. Yeah, listen. Y'all ain't know that I can rock like that. Y'all ain't know that I can rock like that. Uh-huh.
mm, mm, mm.
I mean, on time. So let's try this one more time.
That's Hunter.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Mr. Angry Man is back. I'm back. That's right. Y'all ain't know that I can rock like that. Y'all ain't know that I can rock like that. Nah. Y'all ain't know that I can rock like that. Y'all ain't know that I can rock like that. Yeah. Listen. Y'all ain't know that I can rock like that. Y'all ain't know that I can rock like that. Y'all ain't know that I can rock like that. United we fall, divided we rise.
Are you? So I apologize for that, y'all. But we'll try to get it. We'll try to get it later. But I do want to thank Joy for being my heart is full because my sister is in the building. We've spent the last 4 weeks talking about a subject that is near and dear to her, but also something that I am more knowledgeable on. So as we conclude tonight, man, thank you so very much for your listenership and your viewership. Also tomorrow, check out my life as that's a new podcast with Joe's. What it feels is gonna be good. Go check out critical conversations this Saturday with my sis LHG. Don't know what she's talking about, but it's gonna be good. Also check me out Friday in the Office Alley. I have Terry Brown in the building. We're gonna have a nice conversation about her writing journey and her book. Keep your ears and eyes to the ground with us. Um, and on that note, guys, we are going to do about that. Want to give everybody peace. Want to give everybody peace and blessings. And as you guys continue into your evening, you guys continue to have a great evening and also have a restful night. We love y'all. Ain't nothing you can do about it. And see y'all on the next one.